Today, the smart money is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about a $500 billion network. How big can it get? Well, 500 trillion, 1,000x bigger in today's dollars. There's about $950 trillion worth of wealth out there. 350 trillion worth of real estate. Half of it is just capital or monetary premium. $300 trillion worth of bonds. Half of it is just a monetary premium. 100 trillion worth of equity. Half of it is a monetary premium. 12 trillion worth of gold. 80% of it is a monetary premium. So as the world gets smarter, people are going to sell those things because they don't make good money. Gold is awful money, right? It's just awful money. If you store your money in gold, you're losing half of your wealth every 35 years. So why would you do that, right? It's not working. In the last 2.5 years, gold is down 5%, Bitcoin is up 150%.
Michael Saylor envisions a remarkable future for Bitcoin, proposing a potential 1,000-fold increase from its current position. The Microstrategy founder and former CEO likens Bitcoin to a gravitational force, functioning as a black hole gradually drawing in global wealth. He contends that the astute investors are already aware of its trajectory. In his recent interview, Saylor adeptly dissects the question of whether it's too late to invest in Bitcoin. Be sure to watch until the video's conclusion, as Saylor delivers a masterful class on the subject.
You know, New York was the greatest city in North America by about 1776, and you would have been late to the party. But the question is, would you buy a city block in New York in 1776? Or if you waited till 1876 and you were really late to the party and New York was the greatest city in North America, was it too late to buy a city block in New York City in 1876? Or how about 1976? If you were 200 years late to New York City, if you look at the property values of New York in 1976, what you'll find is you would be rich if you had actually bought real estate in New York in 1976. So the answer to the issue is, in every economic system, every economic empire, there's always one city, one place, one network where people gravitate to. And in the ancient Med, it was Carthage for a while, and then it was Rome, and then it was Venice, and eventually the French Empire terminated in Paris, and the British Empire terminated in London. And then eventually the American economic empire terminated in New York. And there are reasons why. It's just everybody comes together in that place. Even today, New York is still the economic epicenter of the United States. And so Bitcoin represents the economic epicenter of cyberspace. It is the one place where if I want to create a digital application, if I want to move money at the speed of light, and I live in Singapore, I'm using Bitcoin. If I live in Paris, I'm using Bitcoin. If I live in Moscow, I'm using Bitcoin. If I live in China, I'm using Bitcoin. So you see, everybody in the world that actually believes in the idea of a digital asset that wants to build this as a treasury reserve asset, they're going to gravitate toward the most powerful network. Why? Because everybody else is gravitating there. Why do people go to New York? Because the smart money is in New York. I could go to New York 20 years ago. I could take 10 meetings. I could raise $1 billion in 2 days. So why would we be so stupid as to go to New York? Well, because that's where the money is. The money is in New York. So I went. And what did I bring with me? I brought my brain power and I built my business there. And so I then reinforced that network effect. Today, the smart money is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's about a $500 billion network. How big can it get? Well, 500 trillion, 1,000x bigger in today's dollars. There's about $950 trillion worth of wealth out there. 350 trillion worth of real estate. Half of it is just capital or monetary premium. $300 trillion worth of bonds. Half of it is just a monetary premium. 100 trillion worth of equity. Half of it is a monetary premium. 12 trillion worth of gold. 80% of it is a monetary premium. So as the world gets smarter, people are going to sell those things because they don't make good money. Gold is awful money, right? It's just awful money. If you store your money in gold, you're losing half of your wealth every 35 years. So why would you do that, right? It's not working. In the last 2.5 years, gold is down 5%, Bitcoin is up 150%, right? The smart money is clearly running away from it, and in time, people will dump their gold, and when they dump their gold, Bitcoin will jump by a factor of 10. So The answer to the question of why you should buy a Bitcoin is that Bitcoin represents one block in cyber New York, which has got 21 million blocks for all of eternity. And in the year 2500, people are going to be moving to cyber New York, right? I mean, New York was founded a long time ago, right? The only thing that keeps people from continuing to come into the great city, whether it's the New York or the London or the Paris, is when the economic flows move from the physical domain to the digital domain. As long as you did business in an analog world where you had to like put on a suit and walk into a building and meet with people, then you're going to see London and Paris and Tokyo and Hong Kong be great cities. When the economy moves to the digital realm and you don't have to put on a suit and walk into a building and you can have a Zoom meeting of 20 people in 20 places and raise $1 billion in a day, right? Then some of the economic energy drains out of the city networks and it drains into the crypto network. And so buying a Bitcoin, whether it's 1 Bitcoin or 1 million Satoshis or 100,000 Satoshis or 1 Satoshi, is just like buying into New York City 250 years ago. Yeah, sure, you're late. People got there 100 years before you, okay? Well, in this case, someone got there 14 years before you. You know, I once tweeted, very famously, I said, I think Bitcoin is, going the way of online gambling. And I think Bitcoin's like $100 a coin then, okay? And I was wrong, but I didn't need it. I was wrong. When I needed Bitcoin was $9,500, $10,000 a coin. And so I bought it at $10,000 instead of $100. People will buy it at $100,000. They will buy it at $1 million. They will probably buy it at $10 million, right? Because, how much does it cost for an apartment in Manhattan? People pay $10 million for 4,000 square feet. $10 million, right? All of Manhattan was purchased for, like $29 in beads or something. If you roll the clock back, nothing. You can't really get caught up in what the unit price is. You have to ask the question, what is the dominant network in cyberspace? And Bitcoin is the dominant network. And the reason it's the dominant network is a bunch of things. One, all the smart money arrived there, right? If all the smart people that wanted a decentralized, non-sovereign store of value crypto network, if they all showed up, looked at 10,000 choices and picked this one and put all their money on it, right? That's like all the smart people, they showed up in America and they picked New York. You know why they picked New York? New York is sitting on 200 million year old granite schist, right? It's indestructible as an island, Manhattan. It's sitting between a bunch of rivers. It's sitting in front of one of the world's great harbors. And it's sitting at the mouth of the Hudson River, which is 1 mile wide, deep, and it goes straight right into the heart of the country. So if you were picking a port city, was the most rock solid, geographically sound, logistically sound, well-engineered port you could possibly imagine, and so it matters. And Bitcoin represents the same thing. Bitcoin is backed by 400 exahash of digital energy, and 400 exahash of digital energy makes it the most powerful computer network in the world. And so if I'm going to put $1 billion on it, I would want the indestructible, nation-state resistant, fault-tolerant, most powerful computer network in the world. I wouldn't want the second most powerful network, and I wouldn't want a network 100 times less powerful. I want a network where you would need every computer in the world to slow it down 10%, and you would need all the electricity in the world to slow it down 10%. And that's what Bitcoin represents because of the way it's engineered. It represents an indestructible, unstoppable, most powerful computer network. And so if you're looking right now, you shouldn't look at it as, well, I wanted to buy something cheap and wait for it to go up 100x, so I better buy something that's a penny stock. Like, there is a meme we call penny stocks, right? The whole joke of a penny stock is, if you really wanted a penny stock, we can manufacture thousands of them. That's the theme of the movie Boiler Room. The Wolf of Wall Street did that. It's been going on for hundreds of years. People manufacture a penny stock and they tell you buy it for a penny, it's going to go up to $5, you're going to make 500x your money. That's not what you want. You want a cheap apartment? I'll sell you a $4 million apartment in New York, which looks expensive, or I'll sell you a $42,000 apartment, in some random suburb, in a third world country. But the point really is, which is the better real estate investment? It's not a matter of the cost to buy the thing. it's a question of how secure is the network you're buying into. And everybody will tell you, you buy the beachfront property in Palm Beach or Miami Beach, you're better off to buy a house on land than to buy the apartment. You're better off to buy the apartment in the good building than the bad building, and you're better off to buy the apartment in the good neighborhood than the bad neighborhood. And you're better off to buy the real estate in the capital city of Rome or London or Paris or New York than to buy the real estate in the 13th biggest city in the country when the inflation comes. So that would be my answer to that question.
Michael Saylor holds a strong conviction that Bitcoin could potentially surge 1,000-fold from its current position. The founder and former CEO of Microstrategy, Saylor, offered a compelling analogy, likening Bitcoin to a gravitational force resembling a black hole, gradually drawing in global financial resources. Saylor firmly believes that the realm of intelligent investors is already aligning with this perspective, perceiving the inevitable course of Bitcoin. Viewing Bitcoin as digital real estate, akin to prime blocks in Manhattan, lends clarity to the notion that it's not too late to invest. Imagine embracing a novel asset class just 14 years from its inception and dismissing the notion of being too late. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.